议长、李克石主席、高野主席、戴碧玲副主席，首先代表本院游锡堃院长向各位贵宾致歉。由于院长上周返台确诊，现在还在隔离中，不能出来与各位朋友见面。今天就由我代表接见。我相信游院长虽然人不在现场，但他的心一定与大家同在，与民主自由同在。美国艾伯特众议长曾经来到立法院演说，时隔1/4个世纪之后，美国金瑞气众议长造访台湾。而今天我们再一次有幸迎来美国众议长前来访问，在此我们要用最诚挚的感谢美国国会用具体行动展现对台湾坚若磐石的支持。议长是美国政坛捍卫人权的灯塔，全世界向往民主自由的人都记得。1991年，您在北京天安门声援中国民运运动人士，不惧中国驱逐出境，展现崇高的道德勇气。2017年，您在美国国会接见香港反送中的民运人士，大力推动香港人权与自由法。2019年，当众议院压倒性通过法案时，您的那句“美国与香港同在”，振奋了全世界无数的人们。可以说，有裴洛西议长的地方，民主、自由、人权就不会孤单。2020年，美国国会通过《台北法》，您誓言将确保台湾在包括联合国在内的决策桌上享有一席之地。去年众议院通过《防止维吾尔人强迫劳动法案》，您主张打击暴行，追究恶者的责任。裴洛西议长总是大力援助被集权压迫的族群，可以说是全球最支持人权的国会议长。去年，立法院主办的开放国会论坛中，裴洛西议长致函表示，美国会继续与台湾同在，坚定不移，致力维护台湾人民的自由、安全和人权。任内也主导众议院通过多项友台法案，今年2月更带领众议院通过2022美国竞争法案，呼吁美国行政部门为我驻美代表处证明进行协商。在此，我要代表立法院向您表达崇高的谢意。回顾过去，早从关键的1987年，裴洛西议长与台湾的命运仿佛就因为民主这条线而交织在一起。35年前，您出任众议员，开启伸张民主、自由、人权的事业，也是35年前，在国际压力与台湾人强大的民意下，当时台湾政府终于解除戒严。在此之后，从1992年的国会全面改选，1996年的人民直接选举总统，2000年的政党轮替，2016年3度政党轮替，台湾已经成为全世界眼中民主的灯塔。我们希望全世界民主同盟一起与珍贵的台湾同在。裴洛西议长无畏无惧率团访台，就是对民主自由价值最大力的捍卫与巩固。裴洛西议长是台湾的挚友，台湾也是美国可靠、可信赖的盟友。台湾绝对会坚定立场，和美国以及全球民主同盟伙伴一起挺身，坚决捍卫民主、自由、人权，坚决守护我们得来不易民主自由的生活方式。最后，再次欢迎裴洛西议长率团访台，也敬祝访台顺利。我知道这次的行程非常紧凑，但我也欢迎裴洛西议长，如果有机会，可以到台湾的各地走走，感受到台湾的美好。当然，也欢迎裴洛西议长到访我的故乡台中，相信我们会让裴洛西议长感受到台湾人的热情。
Honored to join you, Mr. Vice President, as well as your distinguished members of your leadership here. Thank you so much for your presence and your kind welcome. I accept all the kind words that you said about me on behalf of the Congress of the United States, because all of that was done in a very strong bipartisan way in support of Taiwan. When you say that I'm a good friend of Taiwan, I take that as a great compliment, but I receive it on behalf of my colleagues. On our visits on congressional delegations, we have three purposes. One is security for our people, global security. Two is economics, to spread as much prosperity as possible. And three is governance. Mr. Vice President, so many of the legislation and other initiatives that you mentioned were possible because of our members of this delegation. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the House, Gregory Meeks, has been an ardent leader in terms of these human rights initiatives across the world, but in particular the ones that you mentioned. So again, our purpose are the three purposes I said, but in doing so we want to increase interparliamentary cooperation and dialogue. And we do so at a time when our president has put forth an Asian Pacific initiative which we support, and we want to be specific in terms of how we work with Taiwan in that regard. In acknowledging Chairman Meeks's leadership in regard to so many of the initiatives you mentioned, I'm sure we'll have some discussion about that and you'll hear directly from him. We come in friendship to Taiwan, we come in peace for the region, and our chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee, Mr. Takano, representing our veterans, understanding the value of peace and the avoidance of conflict. I'm sure that he will speak to us about that, but I want to salute him for his protection of our veterans, not just our veterans, but the veterans of all countries engaged in war. Talked about the economy. Thank you for bringing up the CHIPS bill. All of these members were instrumental in passing that important legislation, which we think offers greater opportunity for U.S.-Taiwan economic cooperation. Here with us in that regard is the Vice Chair of the Ways and Means Committee. It was very instrumental in the passage of that, and she can share some thoughts about that. She was with Microsoft. She is private sector oriented and visited Taiwan on many occasions, which I'm sure she'll share with us. Security and economy come together. Our distinguished member from Illinois, Mr. Christian Murphy, is a member of the Intelligence Committee, and he saw the connection between CHIPS and national security, as well as other aspects of our cooperation security-wise. We'll hear from Mr. Christian Murphy. In terms of all of the connection of this, whether it's security or foreign affairs and the rest, and economy, Mr. Congressman Andy Kim of New Jersey is a member of the Armed Services Committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee, and other committees of jurisdiction in this regard. He also is a former member of the State Department. He's a diplomat, and so he's teaching us to speak more diplomatically. In terms of, as you see, our delegation has what we call heft. They have a view of economy and security and governance. They have knowledge of the issues. They think in a strategic way about how to work together. They came here, we all did, to listen, to learn from you as to how we can go forward together. In terms of governance, we commend Taiwan for being one of the freest societies in the world, for your success in addressing the COVID issue, which is a health issue, a security issue, an economic issue, and a governance issue. We congratulate you for that. And as we continue to work together, we want you to know how proud we are of Sandra. She told me just to address her as Sandra, our director. She has our confidence, and we're very proud of her leadership. And so now we look forward to our conversation about how we can work together, learning from you and sharing some thoughts ourselves on how to protect the planet from the climate crisis, how to accelerate and learn from you how you addressed the COVID crisis, how we advance respect for all of the people in our countries as we go forward. And again, we come in friendship. We thank you for your leadership. We want the world to recognize that. And with that, again, I thank you, Vice President Tsai, for your hospitality, for your kind words. I'll just go back to Tiananmen Square for a moment. That was bipartisan. It was over 30 years ago. It was bipartisan when we were on Tiananmen Square. And we were there specifically making the statement on human rights. But our visit was about human rights, was about unfair trade practices, and it was about security issues of technology, dangerous technologies being transferred to rogue countries, to countries of concern. So for over the years, it's always been about security, economy, and governance. So we look forward to our conversation, and I think we're right on time.